I'm going to reconvene the Board of Equalization meeting. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over.
If you reviewed the minutes, we just need a motion to approve the minutes. The second, I vote on that.
I make a motion.
I have a motion. Chip?
Second.
Second. All those in favor, indicate raised hand. Motion so carries. Now I will entertain a motion to adjourn the 2026 Board of E&R for this year.
So
All right. Motion so carries. We are adjourned.
Yep.
You are gone, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all right. We'll get you something. Thank you.
Right. Sorry. Please. Sorry.
Come, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you. Now we're going to call to order to convene a special meeting here at the Administrative Boardroom. And at this time, I'm going to call on our co-chair to get us started with our pledge of invitation.
Chair of God, would you please lead us in prayer? Let us pray. Most glorious and almighty God, we thank you, Lord, for another day. Thank you, Lord, that you give us minds of wisdom and knowledge that all comes from you. So, Father God, I ask that you bless this meeting, that when we leave this, we leave better. And then, Father God, all the things that we need. We know that when we look into the hills, and which cometh our help cometh from the Lord. So we need that right now. Bless our leaders, bless our commissioners, bless our managers, and all those that have said and got this together, that we may be able to do the goodness that you have given us for Sampson County. We give you glory and honor now, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, second. All in favor? Agenda is approved. All right. Item 1, resolution for our Laurier County Attorney, Mr. Joel Starter. It's on you, brother.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have information in front of you regarding an opioid settlement. This settlement involves, they're calling it 6 Remnant distributors. These are 6 regional pharmaceutical distributors that the National Consortium has negotiated a settlement with. It's Associated Pharmacies, J.M. Smith Corporation, Louisiana Wholesale Drug Company, Morrison-Dixon Company, and North Carolina Mutual Wholesale Drug Company, and United Natural Foods Incorporated. By opioid settlement standards, this one is a smaller settlement. It's a little over $97 million nationally. You have a resolution in front of you that would authorize the chairman to execute the participation form and release form, accepting the settlement and releasing those defendants. I've spoken to our council here in North Carolina about this. They are recommending that local governments that they represent do sign on to this settlement agreement. The alternative would be, to go it alone and try to litigate, against these defendants ourselves, and for various different reasons, that's not the advisable course of action.
You talked to me.
Thank you, Mr. Dorn. At this time, I'll take a motion to adopt the resolution.
I make a motion that we adopt the resolution.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, by raised hand. Motion so carries. Resolution is adopted. Thank you, sir. All right, Ms. Burton, you're up on item 2 on the budget amendment.
Okay, before you is a budget amendment to budget a $44,000 donation that someone kindly donated in order to get a generator at the animal shelter. So I'm requesting that you approve that budget amendment. Gotten so brighter.
Make a motion to approve the budget amendment as presented. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor to have a budget amendment? Motion so carries. That was kind of pretty straightforward on that one. All right, at this time, we'll jump right on into budget workshop, which is item 3. And that's going to go to our department heads, but at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Van to lead the way.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'd like to say to begin with, a lot of work has been put into this budget, and you're only as good as what your team is. And I just want to make sure to thank Melissa Burton, Nancy Dillman. They have been instrumental in helping me with this budget. And then behind the scenes, people like Brandon Wiggins, who have a lot to do with helping with some of the spreadsheets that we needed for certain things and things like that. So I just want to make sure, and I hope I haven't forgotten anybody, but certainly want to thank the team because it was a team effort. I really appreciate that. And of course tonight, first of all, we're on the, if you'll advance the slide, Stephanie, we're on the purpose of today's budget session. And obviously, I have before you tonight the manager's recommended budget, as I said, that we had put, we worked really hard to put together for your review. And as it says here, the purpose to begin with is to make sure that the commissioners and the department heads have an opportunity to review the recommended budget and just kind of hash things out. If there's anything that commissioners you may have questions about, or the department heads may have something that they'd like to discuss with you themselves. So obviously we'd like to be able to do that. Next, the update to information shared in the March 9th pre-budget workshop. We had discussed in that budget workshop, we had several potential financial impacts that we were extremely concerned about. And fortunately, those situations have worked out more favorably than we originally thought they would. So we're going to be looking forward to sharing that information with you. And then finally, the third bullet, highlights of the recommended budget. I'd just like to say, Commissioners, it aligns with your strategic goals as reaffirmed in the March 9th meeting. You know, we did talk about that. And specifically tonight, we'll talk about addressing recruitment and retention efforts, as well as economic development as a couple of the main points that we will share this evening. Let me also say, there will be, I just want to go ahead and make sure everybody's clear about this. There will be a total of 3 work sessions with the department heads, as we described, leading up to the finalized budget that we'll present on June 1st. Of course, no decisions, Commissioners, would have to be made on your part tonight or even on May 11th. But what we would be asking is that in the May 18th session, if you have any points, that you'd like to discuss, decisions to be made, what have you, that we could vet those and have those decided in that May 18th meeting so that staff will have time to adjust those accordingly if there is anything that has to be adjusted. So I wanted to mention that to you as well.
Hello, super please.
All right. So next, I'd like to talk about major revenues overview. And again, this is information that we had touched on in the March 9th meeting as well. But we know that sales tax and property tax are a major source of our revenue. Property tax makes up about 59 to 60% of our revenue. Sales tax is roughly about 18% of our revenue. And then we'll just look, Stephanie, if you'll please advance. On this slide, we'll see that the sales tax projection increase, you see it there, as well as the property tax projection increase. And the point to be made, as we've said before, is we need to make sure to deduct the school's 25% for the funding formula that the board put in place last year. And so you see there at the very bottom, the grand total projected revenue increase versus the prior year, after you deduct the school's 25%, is $1,418,100. Moving on to the next slide. We had talked about, again, the potential impacts, the budget priorities and budget drivers, as we're calling it here, and we're providing an update to that. So first of all, this one was a major concern, as we know. We were faced with having to pay the $1.2 million to keep the convenience centers in operation in the county. Fortunately, after negotiations with GFL for the last couple of months, we have come to terms, and GFL is willing to continue paying for those convenience centers for us for both this year and next year. So that's $1.2 million that we don't have to find in the budget. So naturally, we were thankful for that. And as it says here in the last bullet, the county will be expected to resume this expense in the 28-29 budget year. Moving to the next slide, after school and county officials met. So this was in reference to the New Hopton High School. And of course, we had expressed in that meeting, that the March 9 meeting, that the schools had come to us and said that they had a deficit for the New Hopton High School. And it was commented anywhere from several $1 million to $10 million with, it didn't have a definite answer, said that they would have to wait until the bids officially came in and what have you. Fortunately, though, we met with school officials. We had the board and the board chair and board vice chair from both the commissioners as well as the school board, along with staff, and we came to an agreement that we have a capital reserve line item for the schools, that we happen to have $2.4 million in that capital reserve line item. Well, that line item is typically for emergencies, for roof replacement, for boilers, chillers, that sort of thing. And it's actually, that's how it's actually established that that money is to be used. So we're hopeful this is going probably in the June meeting. This will be coming before you to vote to consider utilizing this money in a different fashion, meaning to actually be able to use it towards the new construction cost for the new high school. But it will take a vote from the board to be able to change the use of that money in that fashion, because as it stands now, you cannot use it for new construction. So the bottom line is, though, is we are able, if approved by the board in a resolution, we would be able to move forward with providing an additional $2 million to the county schools for the New Hopton High School. But we have expressed to them that this would be it, as much as we could do for them, that we don't have the ability to do anything else beyond this $2 million. So that is the situation for the schools. Moving over to the next slide, health insurance increases industry-wide, and we have heard, particularly through correspondence through Ms. Stillman, that it was being projected for many local governments that you could consider your insurance increasing by as much as 15%. So we had figured that worst-case scenario, which was roughly $1 million for the county. Well, as it turns out, after negotiations, we are able to stay with the current provider we have, and that increase is actually a 7.79% increase. But because of the projected claims, we are at a funding level sufficient to meet the projection. We also have a situation where we receive prescription rebates. There's just some things about the way the plan is set up that we actually have some money available to meet the need that we have for the 7.79% increase. So the bottom line is we don't have to find additional money for insurance after all. And so once again, we were just thrilled to get this news. So, so that's great. And Melissa, please, if I have anything that I missed that you would like to share additional, please feel free to jump in. The next slide. So we talk about the implications of the big, beautiful bill. There's still a lot unknown, probably as much unknown as what we do know. However, for the Department of Social Services, it's projected and this will occur after October 1st, that we'd be looking at being responsible for the administrative cost share of $368,000. But that is factored into this budget. And also, the health impacts are projected to be roughly 76,000 and some change as well.
Right.
On the next slide, so first of all, recruitment and retention efforts. Commissioners, we know that money is not always the driver for employees to remain with an organization, and we know that we're losing a lot of positions to neighboring counties, and oftentimes we're losing them to higher salaries because they're able to do more than we're able to do. And you can't blame employees when you're considering the rising costs with inflationary pressure, with additional how gas is going up and continues to go up, so forth. They're having to make a lot of really tough decisions. So the issue is also, I think, compounded by the fact that the year before last, we gave a 1.5% COLA, but it was only for half the year. And then after that, last year, we didn't give a COLA at all, as you know, and we gave a one-time $500 bonus and 4 additional paid holidays. So to just make the point that going for a couple of years with no significant COLA, while other people in the region have continued with pretty decent COLAs, that just continues to set us even further behind in terms of the competition, if you will. And we know that there's some of these counties, like maybe a Johnston County or some of these others, there's no way we can pay the kind of money that they can pay. But at the same time, it is compounded by the fact that we're lagging behind with how we've had to do the COLAs over the last few years. So the bottom line is we want to prove to the employees, to our employees, appreciation by offering a good COLA and additional paid holidays. I think it's important also to consider the hidden cost associated with turnover in terms of hiring and training new employees. High employee turnover also creates frustration that can result in a lot of negativity in the culture of the organization. So I think there's just a lot of things that have to be considered when it comes to the turnover.
That's important.
So first of all, in terms of the COLA, as you see there, we're offering what is being recommended to offer a 4% COLA. This is reflected in all of the department's budgets. As you'll see when they come before you, it'll be at the very bottom, and that number you see at the bottom also includes the fringe benefits. You also see here that for every 1% COLA, it's estimated to be about $356,028 for each 1% that you add in the COLA. And just to give a little perspective about that, I had originally, because of the resolution we had put in place in March, the March 9th meeting, I had suggested a 3% COLA and a $500 bonus. But when you look, I mean, the $500 bonus is $307,767. And then with 1% COLA is $356,028. So it's a difference of $48,000 and change. So there's not much difference there other than the fact that for that difference in price, of course, there would be fringe and benefits in perpetuity. But for that small difference, though, it would certainly be a cleaner and easier financial transaction for us on our side if we were just able to say, okay, it's just a flat 4% increase. As far as the paid holidays, in lieu of a 4% COLA, and instead of doing 4 paid holidays like we did last year, we're asking to do 2 additional paid holidays this year. And those days would be July 6th and November 25th. And those would be able to allow the employees to have a couple of long weekends in addition to a couple of the other holiday weekends like Christmas, for example. I know that our employees are extremely appreciative to the board for this, and I cannot stress that enough. We have had emails and phone calls, many, just people reaching out to us, reaching out to HR, to Miss Nancy, stressing that they really appreciated that, and they hoped that the board would be interested in doing that for them again. So again, just as trying to reward our employees and show that appreciation to them, I think it would be wonderful if we could get the 4% COLA and the 2 paid holidays, if the board would be agreeable to that. Okay. Next,
That's all.
I just want to say, as far as the net positions added, 3, but that's a little bit deceptive because it says, just as it implies here, these are positions that are currently contract, and we're just converting them to in-house staffing, is what we're interested in doing there. And then let me talk just a minute to the last bullet, update to the comprehensive land use plan. I've put that at $100,000, but let me just say that oftentimes for comprehensive land use plans, it can cost a local government anywhere from $150,000 to $175,000 to do those. But what I'm suggesting we do is we take the bones of what we have now and we build on that, and I think we can do that through some conversations I've had with different people. I think we can do that for $100,000. And I think it's more important than ever that we go ahead and be thinking about this, planning for potential growth in the future now, and give key players like the Board of Commissioners, the Planning Board, all the stakeholders, and especially get out in our community and let the people in our community have a say and a voice too, if they'd like to participate, so that we can be all of one accord of what we'd like to see in how we utilize the land in our county, knowing, and in no way is this anything against agriculture, or, I mean, realizing so much of our land is agriculture, right? And we understand that, and we certainly appreciate that. But just to know, I have experienced a situation where in a local government, we were caught by surprise with the amount of growth that suddenly ensued. It sure would be good to have some things in place that you know, okay, these are the types of growth we'd like to see in certain areas of the county. These are the kinds of things we'd like to see pertaining to zoning, you know, and regulations, or whatever the case may be, for the county to help steer that growth and that vision together the way you want it to be, instead of the proverbial the tail wagging the dog. You know, so we just think that would be very important to get that in place, and that's why I recommended that in the budget as well. Moving over to the next slide with economic development, where what we'd like to do here, and we had touched on this in the March 9th meeting, but we would like to ask the board to allow us to do a $5 million 10-year note that would give us the chance to get something moving on the economic development front to help, because we continue to say that we want to increase the non-residential tax base. And we obviously, in the community, we've gotten out there with our strategic plan, the economic strategic plan, and we've touted the fact that we do want to do some things in terms of economic development. So even if it's just something, I know $5 million is a lot of money, but in the scheme of economic development, of course, this is something very small. But just moving towards, doing something to try to get something prompted on the economic development front could sure help a lot. So what we'd be looking to do with this money would be to have a 70,000 square foot shell building built in the Southeastern Business Center here in Clinton. And then we'd also look to start the early stages of preliminary engineering and design for the infrastructure at the Joe Brick Ward Industrial Park in Newton Grove. And you see year one's debt service for that would be $772,500. We actually believe, I know in conversations with Melissa, she seems to think it will actually come in a little less than that. But that's figured a little on the high side, and that's the number we use to factor into the budget. So that number is in this budget as well. Moving over to the next slide. As part of trying to work these items out to our benefit, to help, we're just looking where we can to find the revenue, knowing that, we're a little bit, the revenue's just not as much growth as we'd like for it to be. So with that in mind, we are recommending the elimination of the 2% early pay discount for taxes, and that would return $420,000 in revenue to the county. So, of course, that number in this proposed budget has been factored into the manager's recommendation. And then finally, to achieve the items recommended in this budget, we are having to use $2.38 million of appropriated fund balance. It's not, and I know, commissioners, I know you realize this, but I feel like I need to say this publicly. It's not uncommon for local governments to use a certain amount of appropriated fund balance in the budget process. It becomes problematic when it just gets out of hand and you don't control your revenues and expenses to the point that it becomes more and more inflated over time. This number is actually not, I would say it's in line with historically what had been done before the budget a couple of years ago when it was a bit excessive, but it was over $11 million. So I just wanted to share that with you. The next slide, that just shows you the general fund expenditures. It shows you what those expenditures were last year versus what they would be in the new budget year. And then moving over to the next slide, as far as final thoughts, and talking about fund balance, we know that there are I'm calling them the uncertainty items that we've been talking about, that we know we do need to guard the fund balance as much as possible. And so we know that the things that are, that could come into play, I guess you'd say, are the property tax reform, and what may happen there for sure. The HR 1 impacts both later this year and in subsequent budget years. And then finally, the uncertainty of the level of FEMA financial assistance if we were to have a major storm event or other catastrophe. So that's just a broad overview of everything, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. And I don't know if you have any questions at this time, or if you want to hold those and just get started with the departments, or just what you'd like to do. We're willing to do whatever's the pleasure of the board.
When will you have if the budget's ready to go? I mean, when are you going to have the full budget ready to be printed and put in binders for us to go through?
We would, like I said, we would need to hear from you on the 18th if you do want to vote on any changes that you'd like to the budget before we'd be able to put it in binders. And as soon as we get those answers on the 18th, we could go ahead and get the binders together pretty quickly. Right, Melissa? Because I'm sorry, Commissioner Lee. I was just going to say, because of course we would present the budget, fully present the budget in the June 1 board meeting.
Right.
And did you have a question, Commissioner Lee?
I did.
Okay.
I think you said elimination of 2% discount for early pay would generate the county for us $608,000. That's not a whole lot of money to cut out such a benefit that I know most of our people depend on. They depend on that 2%. So that's not a whole lot of money to help the county with things that I don't know what it would take. So, but it would be beneficial to the residents of Sampson County to have that 2%,
Okay,
in my opinion.
sure. Sure.
Okay.
All right, there aren't any other questions. We'll continue to move forward. All right with you?
Yes, sir. Big Rose.
Y'all good?
Okay.
All right, I think we're fine.
Okay.
Sheriff, you up? You the next man I see on my list.
Please, right?
Yes, please.
Obviously, not.
Drag one up with you.
Feel free to pull chairs up.
Good. Fine. What?
I don't know about being a commissioner, sitting by people's sisters on the side, but it's okay, y'all go ahead. I'm just messing. Present away.
Okay. So, solution. He helped.
Constituted. Right.
Yep. They click. Okay.
So I would say, like, you get highlights and go, like, share you. What,
I guess
I will do concerns, what they just wanted.
I was just reading a much better. So, this year we tried to hold the line just like we did, last year. Last year I think we made some substantial cuts in the budget. In fact, we gave up 2 detention positions, and I believe it was 2 vehicles, some other things. And this year we took that same line the best we could. We presented our budget to the county manager, and of course we've negotiated further cuts from there. Overall, it was somewhere around what, $300 and some thousand in cuts. I think we ended up cutting. There was some overtime items cut. We ended up cutting another vehicle, which the sheriff has agreed to buy a seized asset again this year. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of everything. Some challenges we dealt with in this year's budget have been, last year we were able to use grant funding to purchase computers for the vehicles. This year, of course, that grant money is not available, it's gone. Years prior to that, the counties had to purchase that. Last year, we were able to use that grant money we had available. And that's somewhere in the tune of about $55,000. I believe it was, and there's like 9,000 in detention for computers as well, to bring them up, some of which are not even on Windows 10 or Windows 11, I'm sorry. They're still older computers that, need upgrading. And also we were faced with the fingerprint machine that is in the detention center. Of course, we had to have to book inmates, into the facility. They had to be fingerprinted, and that comes into around $40,000. I think it's $41,097 that we've got to have. They don't make parts for it anymore. They can't service it anymore. It's at the end of his life. We're having issues with it, and they band-aided it all that you band-aid.
They won't make a copy out.
And that's pretty much the large increases that we've had, other than a little bit of overtime. Traditionally in the past, we've always been able to move money out of lap salary money to fund the overtime for officers. Fortunately, with the pay study, we've got pay competitive to where we've started filling those positions, and feel like we're going to be able to fill all of them, if not most all of them. So we won't have the luxury of that lap salary money. So the downside is we've still got to pay the overtime, but we may not have any lap salary funds to pay it with. So that line item was increased a little bit from what it was last year. Outside of that, if anyone has any questions, be glad to try to answer the best we can. If we don't know, we'll find you an answer.
How many positions are open now?
How many positions under activity?
We got 2 in the detention center and 3 on the sheriff's office side, sir.
compared to 10 years ago? What's that like? Oh, we range anywhere from 9 to 15 positions at any given time 2 years ago. 2, 3 troubles.
3 on the sheriff's office side, yes, sir.
And the lion's share of those now were primarily in the jail.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago, that's correct.
Yeah.
And most, a few of those are due to retirements, recent retirements.
Right.
Trying to backfill those positions, and we're in the process of graduating. One BLET class just graduated. We were fortunate to pick up 2 of those people that are still in process.
Okay.
And another class is supposed to graduate next month, and we have some interest from that class to hopefully backfill these 3 remaining positions in the sheriff's side. Kevin has some applications for detention as well, and he's trying to process. And, unfortunately, those, that just takes time. I mean, it's a long process. By the time you do a drug screening background, psychological, qualify them. I mean, there's a lot. It take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks just to process of one sort.
Excellent.
Great question.
Well, any other questions?
Besides computers and fingerprint machine, do you have any other major expenses that can possibly occur that you're afraid don't occur next year?
There's always major expenses. Man, I'll give you an example. I mean, right now we've got water in the boiler room that we're having to divert into a drain because the hot water pump went out. That's $4,000. That's an expense we haven't planned. They're waiting on the part to come in now to fix that. You can't shut it off because then there'll be no hot water to the whole facility to include for the inmates. So there's always.
It's been an ongoing.
And it's ongoing, yeah, it's an ongoing problem. We had that 2 years ago. There used to be a backup system, and we didn't have the money to replace the backup pump, so we had to use the backup pump to fix the current pump. Well, now it's gone out, so there is no backup. So if there's always an unexpected expense. Inmate medical is always a biggie.
And your air conditions are working fine now?
Well,
I think we had done a major.
Yeah.
$240,000, I believe it was, for the main unit on the roof that went out last year, and another 40 for the control units because the controllers that were in the facility were not compatible with the new unit. So that was definitely unexpected.
Yes, so they're all working.
They're all working.
Let's go.
How many detention officers, that day you said you had 2 openings and 3 on the sheriff's side. How many employees do you actually have right now in detention and sheriff's?
There's somewhere, I think it's 150 employees total. That includes detention, civilian staff, clerk staff, and the sworn staff. 48 of those would be detention. I believe I'd have to count everyone on up. I think the number is 48.
Yeah.
And the rest would either be sworn or civilian.
The rest is on the sheriff's.
That's correct.
All right. Is the lawn care still working out very well?
We're getting great compliments back from, I guess, the county manager. They're satisfied with the lawn work that's been done here and at the Ian Center, but we're getting great feedback from others.
Right.
It's a lot of work on Wiley's. He does a good job.
He aims to please.
He does. But
Give him the kudos on that for sure, because he works at it.
Congratulations on your promotion to chief deputy.
sure bears what's good. That's fair.
My question is, and will continue to remain, I know the sheriff's department is on its own, it's got its own deal. My concern, I will say questions, is are blacks being promoted at the same rate as whites?
Well, I based on your question last year, Miss Lee, you asked kind of the same thing last year, and I was a little unprepared. Honestly, the answer is great question. But I can't prepare this year. So we got 150 employees total. Of those, 51.3% in the sheriff's office are minority. I think those are pretty good odds. In ranking positions, 33.3% are minorities, and of that 33.3%, 42.1% are African American. So I think we're doing our part.
what until empty will
That's it.
funds.
I forget. 13% are large. And 42% of them are African American.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that equal the total number of employees that are black that are promoted versus the others?
I'm sorry, say that again, I didn't understand the question.
Okay, you were giving it out to us in percentage wise?
Oh, you want the number, actually?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So, of the ranked positions, 19 are minority, and 8 of those 19 are African American.
Oh, two.
Right. It's almost out.
Is there a chart that you can do that would show us like, these are the total number that it, I see what you're saying about
I'll give you the
blacks.
paper, you want the paper?
If it can show me
That'd help
something
you.
like I want to see, yeah.
I'll be glad to get the don't look.
I know you have the employees, but I'm talking about the ones that are being advanced, that are eligible to be advanced.
Yes, so, like I said, 19 are minority and 8 promoted, which is 42%.
Leave it.
Of the 57, so there's 57 total positions. 19 of those are minority, which is 33%. And then of the 19, 8 of those are African American, which is 42% of that number.
That means, yeah. How many of these 8 of these?
That's all 8 of them. They're all
All 8 of
promoted.
these
Yes, ma'am.
have been promoted.
Yes, ma'am. So there's 57 promotable positions, so only 57 people will have an opportunity to be promoted department-wide. 19 of those 57 are minorities. And then of that, 8 are African American that are sitting in a ranked position.
Somebody. So I can keep this?
Oh, yes, ma'am. That's good.
Good. I'm good with everything from the sheriff's office. We're good. Y'all good? I'm fine with it. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, he said something that I meant to say earlier, that I just missed saying is, we had asked the department heads to really toe the line as closely as they could. And all in all, they really did a great job with that. We certainly appreciate that. So I just wanted to mention that to you too.
Okay. Oh, we'll keep moving. Chris, you up, bro? IT for.
Good afternoon, evening, everybody. So I guess when we last sat, last time we came together, we were going through the numbers. And during that budget, I was probably one of the only ones that had a budget that increased over the year for last year. And as I spoke to you that year, I told you that this was an anomaly only because of certain things that we were trying to do. So during that forum, we were looking to make the changes that we were bringing some things in-house that would actually come back to us. I also told you in that meeting that the things that we would do would not wouldn't altogether come back as monies that we would be able to recoup in the next year based on some of the things that we've done. But as we've grown in what we're doing, it has come back to help us. As far as our budget is concerned, it is lower than the actual budget from last year. There were some key things that took place. One was basically we did not have to buy equipment. So we're no longer having to buy equipment that we bought last year. We have it in place. With that being said, we moved many of the offices from one place where we were actually paying Star Communications for hosting and providing a service for us in that level that now we're doing in-house, and it's hosted over at our new 911 center. So we brought all of those things in place, and so we're able to maintain that, and now we're not paying them a monthly fee for their hosting environment. But one of the things we do have to do is maintain the environment. We're still having to pay for maintenance agreements and things like that. As we look through the other things in the budget, pretty much everything is kind of just in line. We're trying to make sure that we're upgrading security and keeping in line with what's going on. As we all know, security is paramount in the things that's going on. We partnered with some folks to do certain things. If you see strange emails come by, we're tightening those up to keep them from getting to you. We've got equipment in place and software in place that's actually now weeding out those type of things. So we're looking to continue those things. We're also looking to make sure that we're keeping the clicks that everybody can click on to a minimum, and trying to stop that from getting in. You know, one of the things you can always do, you can lock the door, but if you lock the thief in the house, they can still get out. So what you want to do is make sure that you're not allowing the thief into the house to get out. So we're working on that, and we're working on tools to help literally train the end user. And when we say end user on our behalf, it's literally everybody in this room and their staff. You know, our department is one that literally does, for the most part, everything internal. We very rarely get out to see anybody on the outside, but you know if we're not working. So if you can't pay your tax bill, there's the issue. You come see us. If you can't come and do something because the computers are not working over an inspection, that's an issue on our end. But we're like, our underlying customer are all the staff and all of the commissioners and those things. So we're here to kind of help keep that going. Over the course of this year, we've got some upgrades that we're looking to do. In working with the things through STAR, we're going to upgrade our speed for the organization across the board. So we're going to get better speed, better security, and better placement for things that we have. And it's not coming at additional cost. I was able to rework those because of the numbers that we brought down. The things that we looking to make sure, again, is security. I do want to applaud Mr. Van and the staff for, over the course of the next year, we've got the National Guard coming in to do an assessment of how we're and our posture. So basically, they're coming to do a security assessment over our system, and that is of no charge, which is it's a great fee if you pay for somebody. But they're going to come in, they're going to tell us some things that we, listen. I've been in IT long enough to understand when they're coming to find something. So I'm not even worried about that. I know what's. So what we've been doing now is working on the low-hanging fruit. So they're coming to find something and come and look at what we've got. And so as we're moving toward those things, we'll be over the course of the next year just to be safe, because there is not. One of the things I like to say is that IT is IT no matter where you are. So if you're in Sampson County, they're thinking, listen, they don't have staff, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have people that can do, as well as, so what better place to attack than us? But we position ourselves so that the attacks can be thrown off for the most part. And we're trying to make sure that we're fortifying what we do in that place. That's pretty much an overview of where we are, where we're going, what the budget looks like. As I said, it was a decrease from last year's budget, but it also maintains the current posture and security levels that we can move forward in this year. Do you have any questions, anything you want to concern?
Yeah, you said the savings at STAR would offset the high speed that we're getting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I've been working with them on some new things, technology. Well, and one of the things you'll find that even if you notice at home, one of the things is that they probably upgraded your speed, but they've not added. Now you in the bad spot. we talk about your spot every time. So listen, some days, listen, it's proximity too.
Yeah.
But so what you'll begin to find out is that technology's getting better, and pricing goes down, and plus there's more competition in the area now. If you hadn't noticed, you've seen bike speed trucks and Spectrum trucks in the area. So that brought in new competition. One of the things, speaking of that, is we've looked at some backup systems to help offset some of the stuff from Star, so that if we've got a secondary system, Brightspeed is in place, Spectrum is in place, and then we can utilize the MCNC, which is out of Durham, a state-supported network. I think they do a lot of stuff with schools and local governments and other areas. So they're actually doing some offerings that we've been looking into as well.
Okay. With regard to that server room at the 911 center,
Yes.
how confident are you with the remaining storage space that will be good enough for a few more years? Are we in danger of filling that space up, or are we in good shape here?
So there's a couple things that you're talking about when we talk about storage space. First of all, if you're just talking about storage of equipment,
People, I'm talking about
you're talking about the little black box we had to go through one year.
what I'm talking about is the infrastructure.
The infrastructure is solid enough right now that for the next couple of years that we should be good. One of the things is because we have scale, the way we put in things, we can do them in scales. So I'll give it to you this way. I can spin up right now roughly 80 new servers, and we still have room for everything we need to do.
Okay.
So I can spin those up. If you tell me that we've got a project, something that we need a server for, in 15 minutes we can have one up and going, ready to go, in place for them to use. And we've got the space, and we can add storage because we bought on this new scale platform, something that we looked at last year, that if we needed to add an additional resource, we can buy like one server that would add X amount of space, either hardware, storage capacity, and we can build into new equipment. So for right now, I think unless we're starting to look to become some form of a data center, we're in good shape with that, the resources in the room, as well as the physical resources. So we have racks in place that are still empty, that we can put things in based on what we did when we did the 911 fund direction to get that building in place.
Thanks, sir. I was just curious.
How many people do you have on staff, and do you have any openings?
How many people I have on staff? So there are 4 of us on staff, and no, I don't have any openings. I've not had any openings for several years actually, and it's one of those things. You know, last year we talked about possibly adding a position, and it was not added. And that was tough because we took on a lot of new endeavors. When we brought on all this equipment, somebody's got to find and have the mindset to know how to work this stuff and run it. And that's been an issue going on.
So Calvin, in that same vein, can you speak to the position, the IT systems analyst, so proposed? Or do you want me to speak to it, or do you?
You go ahead and speak to it, and I can follow through with. So there has been a proposed IT analyst position to be added into this year's budget, and that is to help with some of the other things that we're bringing online. Basically, you know, you guys have said we're going to invest in what we're doing. We're bringing all these systems in line. Well, one of the things is that's a whole different gamut of what a person may need to do. So you may need somebody that can help do database and all these things, all these systems. Listen, this is a lot of money that we're investing when we're talking about a whole scale infrastructure, where we're talking about tax office, finance office, inspections, public work. All of these softwares are coming in, and we're bringing them all together. Now you need somebody that, listen, out of 4 people, and we're running back and forth, there's things that you typically may miss, and then there may not even be the skill set at the point that we have into place. Listen, I can spend as much time as anybody reading and looking through everything that I've got to go through. What do I see at night? What do I do at home? You know, trying to figure out, hey, how does this work? But we need some other places where, you know, you got somebody that can come in and say, okay, we're going to put in these systems. Now they're familiar with how to do X, Y, and Z, and these systems all kind of work similar. So there has been a request that was put in the budget to actually do a IT system analyst that will work hand in hand with the projects that you guys have already said that we're doing. We're already moving ahead, trying to get those in place now. So we've already started. We've got the companies that come in. They've been training. They're starting to look at. We've got things that we've got to bring over or figure out how to get over, based on some of the other conversations you guys know about. So we got to be prepared for that. And so that was something that was put in.
So to your point, once these systems are fully implemented, somebody has to maintain it.
Yes.
And they have to go in the back door, so to speak, and know how to do that and go in and whatever changes in data or anything else that has to be performed.
Right.
So we would see them working across the board with all of the different systems that we're putting in place now.
In talking about that, when we originally voted on the system several months ago, one of the concerns I had was that no one person had absolute control. That the training would be among multiple people and the capability. Of course, one person had administrative rights, but being able to plug and play, if this person were out, somebody else could step in and fill in. We still on track with that.
That could be fairly easily done, and the reason I say that is because we're paying the company to do the heavy lifting. All right, so basically the contracts and things that we're worked out, without me having seen all of them going forward, just know it's again, we're going to pay them to manage the system. So like when you were talking about, do we need stuff in the room at 911, it's not going to be there. It's going, the term, it's going to be in the cloud. But we're going to connect to it. Now, so our biggest thing is that we have to make sure that we maintain connectivity. So some of the things that we have to look forward to are some of the stuff on the back end. The main users of the systems are the people that sit in front of it on a day-to-day basis. But then what we're talking about with the back end is making sure that we're getting data that's over here that's being laid in. That kind of thing can be taught and shown to other people on a simplistic way. And Commissioner Pope, basically, it's a lot like some of that can be some of the stuff that was shown to a certain person whenever they were working. And we said, hey, can you do X, Y, and Z? And we show you how to do it. And then it's like, oh, I got it. But what you do have to have somebody with a good knowledge and a good place and basis that has access and things like that. So we would need to put those in place. And so I think those will be key in how we move and maneuver going forward. The position helps to make sure that somebody is steadily on there, because I often say, especially when I'm sitting in meetings like this, the guys could be anywhere in the county right now, and I'm sitting in a meeting with you guys. Whatever knowledge I have is not being transferred, it's only coming out to you guys, so nobody's able to do it. And then if they're here, I can't really take a phone call in the middle of this meeting and say, hey, can you look at X, Y, and Z? So what we're saying is if we find another person that has some skill sets and some mindset that can read, understand, and go through the things that take place, we'll be able to move and maneuver in that way, and then they can show others how to work. And then you find people that are good in your offices. Somebody that's got a good grasp of the software, because often as we look at it, we're not the end user. I can tell you, like say for instance, if you needed a permit, I could not probably walk over and get you a permit in an efficient manner in the inspection department. I may can get you one by the end of the day. But now you may be mad by the time I finish, but and it's only because I understand how systems should work. If you put in A, you should get B and C. So those are the things that you begin to look at and find a way to do. So that's how I would say it would work. But our biggest goal on one side is to make sure that they're connected. So then there goes with the new speeds that STAR is going to bring to us with the thing. There goes the connectivity in some of these offices. We've got some aging infrastructure, as you're very well saying. I was sitting here listening to the sheriff, and I had to think about how long ago it was when we put that equipment in that business. and to the point where we're starting to have interest. And one of the things that as a group that we need to look at and make sure that we're doing is that we stop thinking about our buy to die mentality. That we buy to die, and then when it breaks, we got to run scrambling to get a fix. You know, you hearing them talking about, well, we took the backup pump to use for the primary pump. Now, when the backup pump breaks, what? We got to start thinking in a different nature of how we do that. Now, with that being said, that looks like it always boils down to this: who's got the money? But we got to think in different ways and different strategies in order to do that. So those will be, you know, how I would suggest some of the things that go forward. And to answer your question about how a person would work, so that we don't get into only one person knows. And I try heavily not to be the one person that knows, but I it's just my nature. We started out this position, it was just me, and then for many years it was me and just Mike, one of my other technicians. So I know where, and they like to say, where all the dead bodies are buried. I know where everything is that, you know, it's called institutional knowledge, and it's that type of thing that becomes difficult to transfer if nothing ever breaks. But we've got to look at that and look at ways to keep skill sets moving and people in place.
Thank you, sir.
That's your risk. All right. You okay? We good? What? Fine, thank you. Appreciate that, Chris.
You need some internet. You may have to call your congressman on that.
And this is close.
You can't get the closer.
And do better house.
I can't move on.
Oh, hey,
All right, we're ready.
you're good. The rest of me fine. Okay. We're gonna move right on in and bring up our veteran services. All right.
And everybody's happy and a good mind, ready to give way, right?
Well,
Mr. Thaddeus is
Yeah.
smiling over there. Well, the Veterans Office has not changed any in 50 years, other than we're doing a whole lot more work than we've ever done and with computers. And so it's a good thing Chris is down the hall from me.
Right.
He can get there quickly. But our population, you know, I heard last night that we had 3,300 veterans. I thought we've got more files than that. Veterans move a lot, and veterans come across county lines. If they live within 10, 15 miles of Sampson County, they come to Sampson County. And I haven't turned away a veteran because I think they all raised their right hand to serve this country.
That's it.
And if they come over in my county, they're going to spend money in my county. But my budget is probably the very lowest budget that you've got. Y'all laugh, but it is.
Nothing, just know that.
It's, I did see and I appreciate that you already took care of some things that we had given out money during the year, but we couldn't pay our bills because we didn't have any money. We got cut way too much last year. And thank goodness they kept it on. We do have a receptionist, and y'all all know that the county gives a $20,000 grant for the last 2 years. There's no guarantee. It'll be next year. I haven't heard any positive or no negative. But with everything going on like it is in the state, I don't count on it until they ask me to do the grant. We give an approval. You see my travel. I haven't used my travel because I've been to one of my conferences, but I paid for it because I had to wait to see if I have enough money for my national.
Good.
And when I do, then I will send both up then. And if it's more than what it is, then I'll take responsibility for the rest. Because it's important to go to these meetings when you're meeting with the people that are making the laws for the VA. And that you've got to be the one to make them work for the veterans in this county. So that's all I have. Mine, as I said, mine is just as open as it can be. It's all about taking care of the veterans. And to me, without them, we wouldn't have this company. If we didn't have the veterans, we wouldn't have this, we wouldn't have you. And we thank you for your service for us.
Question, nice up.
But any questions about veterans?
Are there any concerns from the Veterans Council they want us to be aware of, or are they good?
Well, have you talked to the commissioners about our meeting?
I have not.
Okay. Not at this point, no. If something comes up, we will certainly, but the Vet Council is part of the whole county. We've got somebody from every area, and they work hard to make sure that we get all the events done. The Vet Council costs this county no money.
Nope.
We buy our refreshments when we have it. If something has to be done, I take care of it. Because we started this many years ago with 3 organizations, and look where we're at now. Veterans are they're well honored in this county.
No way.
I agree.
Please extend my appreciation to you.
I certainly will.
The same, you have a staff, and then your staff together.
I have 1 service officer, and I have a receptionist that is fixing to be for my office and for the Parks and Rec and senior services. We're going to share a receptionist.
Found it.
Okay.
You know, that grant position you said,
May is from year to
May.
year.
Okay.
I was very surprised when we got it the 2nd year. And a lot of counties didn't get it. And a lot of counties didn't, but Sampson County's been very fortunate. I'll have my application in just as soon as they come out with it. Well, and the secretary
counts.
understands small counties. Not counties, not how big the county is, but the service. They're very surprised that I don't have but 1 service officer and myself, and she was not even recognized until Mr. Hudson was here.
Good job.
She was not recognized as a service officer. Accredited and certified for 15 years.
Yep.
Could I use another one? If you saw my desk with the 40 or 50 files on it, you would say yes, but we don't have the funds. So if you grow a money tree, I'll be there to ask for another service officer.
I'd like to know where that money tree is at.
Well, I'm hoping y'all can get one rooted somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
But we're just there to do the work, take care of the veterans.
Thank you for all you do. Yes.
Appreciate it.
Doing a good job taking care of this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, as I said, without the veterans, we wouldn't be here. If we don't take care of them, there's not going to be those that join, so we'll continue veterans. But I did participate in that. I got a grandson that's a Black Hawk pilot. He's flying for the Army. And I'm talking to his little sister.
Thank you. Move right on to our red chair D. You sat there on the edge of your seat. I like that. Ready to roll.
She's ready. She's ready.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
My budget is very similar to the budget we had last year. I have not requested any large increases in any area. The largest budgeted item that I have is our contract with Logan Systems, which is our vendor that oversees our computer software, the hardware, our website, the receiving program, the indexing program, the scanning programs. Logan provides all of our computers, scanners, printers, indexers, map plats, copy machines for the maps. They provide all of that. They also service all of that. And with the contract that we have with them, they keep us up and current on the most up-to-date equipment that is available. We've just had a complete update because there was a new law that came out that required certain websites to meet the visually impaired requirements, and they came in and they redid our whole website. That's inclusive
in our contract price.
Okay.
The contract price, I think, from last year to this year increased by about $1,000 for the year. And so that's minimal. Now, I do not have any written estimates from any other companies, but I have spoken with other companies just to make sure that our contract was in line with what other vendors offer. This is a very competitive service. These vendors compete, so their prices are in line with each other. I feel like that the contract that we have is the best one that we can get. We've been with this company since 1988. Other than that, I do not have any additional expenditures, and that one, like I said, I think it went from 65,000 last year to 66 this year. But that includes every piece of equipment that we have in our office. If it breaks, they'll come and fix it. If there's something that happens to it, whatever it is, if it gets knocked off of the desk or if it just stops working for any reason, they come and replace it. So no extra fee, all of that is covered in our contract price.
Where they based out of?
Greensboro. Greensboro. Our office is a little bit different than some of the county offices because we do not just assist residents that live in Sampson County. If you have ever lived in Sampson County, if you have family that live here, if you got married here but live somewhere else, if you've ever had any family that was associated with Sampson County, we issue a lot of certificates to people that either lived here and moved away or passing through. We serve people from all over. We do a lot of marriages for people that are in the military. If Cumberland can't assist them, they'll call us, they'll come over here and get their license. We serve a lot of citizens that are not necessarily in Sampson County. What we do in our office is mandated. So with that being said, I do not have the flexibility or the authority to change any of our fees. I cannot decide, well, we need to increase our income, so we're going to charge $12 for a certified birth certificate rather than $10. Or we're going to increase our marriage license from $60 to $80. Those fees are set by the state, and I do not have the authority to change those. So with that being said, most of what we do is mandated, and the fees are set, and we don't have the authority to change any of those. I am fully staffed. I have 5 in the office, 6 including myself. And I work on the floor just like they do. Somebody comes in and I can help them. I issue birth certificates they receive, record deeds just like they do. We work well together. So, and most of the girls and guy that I've got in there have been there for a while. We've got a lot of experience in there, and we've got a really good staff. If you have any questions about my budget, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, but mine is very similar to what we presented last year.
Any questions?
Sure, answer. Thank you.
All I know is I'm just gonna tell you that I'm glad your husband didn't want you at home right now with him worried him, and I'm glad you stayed around Alabama. We're gonna give him the applause on that. I just been, we thank you for what you do over there. It means a lot to the county.
I enjoy what I do.
I know, and that it shows, and we appreciate it. Thank you. Huh? We're good? Thank you. According to my paper I've got, we're at the Board of Commissioners dinner. Is there anyone who would like to go ahead, such as, I'm looking around the room, the Animal Shelter? Would y'all like to go ahead and present?
I can.
Okay, we're gonna roll on.
Okay.
Jim's gone, he won't be back till 6.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of what he told me. That's what I look around the room, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot. And I know you're good, so we're gonna roll on. How's that?
Yeah.
Are you good with that there? sir?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, just making
I was
sure.
just concerned.
I didn't want to
Jim-
overstep my
if Jim
bounds.
had left for good for the.
No, he's coming back.
Okay.
So I don't really have, so my budget from last year did increase roughly by right at $62,000. The reason it increased is because of the temporary worker situation. My 3 temps in this year will be, if approved, will be moving from temporary workers to county employees. I know that was one of the directions from the county manager with the Department of Labor. 2 of my temps, I have one that has been there since 2020, and I have one that's been there since 2022. So, I mean, they're considered temporary, but it's kind of hard when you're in a...
Can't get him temporary.
Right. And they already know the basic, I mean, trying to get a temporary worker in an animal shelter, and you basically learning the protocols and being prepared for the state inspector to come in and all of that. Good job. So, I mean,
I understand.
and like I said, if you look back at my past budgets, I have continuously asked for them to be permanent employees, and it was denied several times, which was understood. Then this year, the direction was we kind of have to. So that is
Yeah,
why.
we're getting, I know. I understand.
That's why it was approved, or not approved, but that's why. And then the only other reason was last year I had taken out my cell phone and travel stipend, and Melissa told me I had to put it back in there. That's the increase. So that's why.
I understand.
But other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. I did not add back in training or anything like that, so pretty much it was basically the same as last year, except for the 3 moving from temps to,
Okay.
And I mean, we've
That's
had-
very straightforward.
right, and we've had quite a bit of donations as far as revenue. I had an $18,000 check at the very beginning of the fiscal year, and then the $44,000 check for the generator.
That's all I have to do
We're
earlier.
thankful for that.
Absolutely. And I was just looking at Tractor Supply. I'd usually, right at the in July, I usually do all my POs, rather large amounts. And because of the many donations we've had off of our Amazon wish list and people dropping donations off, we only used 50% of our purchase order for Tractor Supply, and that's where we buy all of our food and so forth. So we haven't even used 50% of that. So we've been getting good on our donations and so forth.
I like it. Thank you.
Yeah, we're hanging in there. We're doing good.
Y'all working face with it. My wife rolls me out there every so often and shows me anything.
And shout out to Jean. She's helping us. She comes weekly, and we do cut of the week videos, and
We do.
so she
You'll
does.
need. Thank you.
We do a cat and a dog, and then we get them out there and pets.
I believe you continue to get those donations because you do such a great job, and so many people love animals. I know that because I love them. It's so special. Good
I appreciate it.
question though. Do y'all keep animals like for people that go on vacation and stuff?
No, ma'am. I'll make people upset because I tell them we're not a boarding facility. They get upset with me. They just. And we do offer the $10 rabies vaccines. I try to get that out. Yes, ma'am.
Get back there. Thank you. But there are boarding facilities in the county.
There are. There are
And they are very good from what I can tell.
There's a new one in operation now, and
Yeah, is that not right? And it was very reasonable. We found out out there.
when your staff is temporary listed,
I know what you mean.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Total of 6.
settle the 6 and blend yourself.
Okay. Slow it down, thanks.
Scott.
And Commissioners, I do want to mention, and you correct me if I'm wrong about this, that we've had plenty of conversations working with Pender County too. They basically have about the same volume of animals as what you have, right? Aren't you guys pretty close? as far as that goes.
They have the same
have
volume of
more employees allotted than what you have, even with now having 6 total.
And because we used to have 7, and one of my employees, we cut one of the positions. They have 2 extra, not counting the director. Because oh man, I left my notepad, but since January 1st, we've taken in 800 animals. And animal control, thank you. Yeah, since January 1st, it was 816 animals, and animal control in the past 2 months has had 452 animal control calls.
Wow.
True.
If I remember correctly, last year there was some conversation about the sheriff having people from the jail come and do some work at the animal shelter.
We're still working on that, because I think their volume of trustees, I think, has decreased or something. I think he's still in the works on that.
Okay.
It go good.
Your question?
Okay, it's fine.
Not for me, them questions.
Y'all good? I think everybody's good. Thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good. Yes.
Well, we are,
We'll go ahead and take care of libraries.
I'm fine.
Guys.
Are you good to go? Okay. Now we're on to our libraries.
Yes, and the thing for me will just cover Jordan does one.
Yeah, you too.
Didn't get no, did you?
Just again, so.
This is the best. Two.
To do.
What?
That's what she likes it.
Yeah. That's up to.
I'm gonna go ahead and pass out some updated statistics.
Yeah, thank you.
They're called.
Sure, someone just wants
I
that.
think it might.
It's a good.
So with our budget, as recommended, it would keep us at the current staffing level that we have right now, which is 4 days a week Roseboro and Newton Grove, 3 days a week in Garland, and then Clinton is open 6 days a week. They're the only branch with Saturday hours. For just some updates for all of you, we did begin passport services in Newton Grove near the beginning of April. It was the Monday after Easter. We are not heavily advertising that yet while staff get their feet wet because it is a process. It was a lot of training. It's a lot of things you have to get right. So we're trying to let them do a few applications at a time so that, they're not being overwhelmed and getting something wrong, because that's with the State Department. We don't want to get that wrong. But that being said, give me one moment. I do have an update on the number of, actually I know off the top of my head. They've already had 8 different appointments, but 6 passport applications were executed, so to speak, mailed off out of those appointments, because occasionally people come through, don't have all their items where they can get their passport done. They haven't done everything they need to do. But they have 2 more appointments tomorrow already, and I believe they have 3 next week. So this is all word of mouth, and it being, of course, where they can search online. On the State Department's website, search for a passport site. In Newton Grove, though, while they are taking appointments, if they have an appointment, they have to have 2 people there, because they have to have 1 person to do the appointment, 1 person to take care of library business. Just kind of some notes, Newton Grove is our 2nd busiest branch. And I do want to point out something. I know with what I shared with you for July to March daily averages, they are a little decreased from what I had I had shared from July to December, but that's not strange. Usually January and February are our slower months. So we haven't gotten into our busier months in that data yet. We're usually busy, very busy in May and June. So I expect those averages are going to tick up significantly. Even in the last couple of weeks, which I didn't have time to get a full month of April ready for you, because today was the last day of the month. So I left it off. Most of the branches have already seen an uptick. Like in Clinton, we've had several days, or at least a few days, that have been over 100 people a day just in April. So when you add those numbers in, that's going to give an uptick in the daily averages. Another update you might be interested in, I'm still working on the Friends of the Library. We've had some individuals that thought they had the capacity to help with that unfortunately they have had to step back and not assist with that effort. But we are still trucking forward. I've made contact with a few other people. We're going to have another meeting in May 11th actually. And trying to think if there's any other specific updates. Those are kind of the things I have highlights to hit. So are there questions, y'all?
I said,
I think we're straightforward.
good up.
As far as now you said they're going on the web and finding about the passports.
Yes, that's on the U.S. State Department.
So they
search.
can go, as you move forward in advertising these positions, they can go online, look and search, and they got what they need, and then when they come to the library, they're prepared with what they need for it.
Right, typically, and the staff, they're trying to advise them as much as they can, because we're doing it appointment only.
Okay.
We're doing appointment only. They're trying to talk with the person, see what their situation is as much as they can, so they can recommend to them, like, hey, here's what you need. They have not had one straightforward passport application so far, where somebody came in, it was just, hey, I've got my regular birth certificate, I've got my ID, I've got everything. There's been a lot of minors, and that's a different situation. There's been people who didn't have a regular birth certificate. It's just been a lot of different situations. So they said they're getting broken in very well.
So we're gonna move this over to Clinton as we move forward to Newton Grove to do the passports at some of the other libraries, or?
So whenever I requested 2 branches, whatever, because you have to request through the State Department.
Right.
I requested Garland and Newton Grove
Okay.
because they were a distance
Far south,
apart,
okay.
and I thought they would be more likely to approve both. They only approved one, and the feedback I got was pretty much they only thought we needed one. So I don't know if that is an option or not. I do think Newton Grove is probably getting, I'm not saying more than Clinton would get, but they're probably getting people from all different areas.
Okay.
Because they're so close to 40 and everything.
I agree.
And I,
That's good.
when you say regular birth certificate, are you talking about the original?
So I've done the training. I will tell you that. But I would, what I mean by regular birth certificate, like somebody might have a delayed birth certificate, which means it was issued after they were born within a certain period of time. But I don't want to give you the exact definition of that because I would want to look it up in the book. But it is still a different situation. I think it's after a year after birth. Somehow you didn't have a regular birth certificate and you had to register for a delayed birth certificate.
If you're talking about the copy that you go get, can you use that copy that you get from?
As long as it's a certified copy.
You have to have a certified copy, and you do a certified copy of the birth certificate that you would get, and then you have to make a regular copy also to send. There's several documents. Again, please don't quote me on all of those things without me having that for
How many people do you have on staff, and do you have any openings currently?
So our full-time staff allotment is 7. Part-time staff, currently there are 9, but again, part-time is a pool of hours. It doesn't really matter how many people you have in there to fulfill those hours. They're not separated out.
See 9,
9 currently.
9 part-time.
And I have 1 vacancy. It's the youth services coordinator. We have been working to try to fill that. I will say that position has given us a lot of trouble. It is a very key position. I did do the surveys I talked to all of you about. that we were launching in February. I haven't received as many responses as I would like, but the majority of what I reviewed, people are either asking for more youth programming or maybe some teen programming, which we definitely don't have the capacity to do without a youth services person. Or they want more tour books. So those are the things people are asking for. So we are still doing children's programming, but it's light. Going into summer, it will not be light, just because if we did that, it would devastate the whole community, because I've had people come and say, oh, I'm so glad you offer this so we don't have to go out of the county to do something educational or even fun. I mean, the stuff is fun and educational with our kids. So that has been a challenge, not having that person. We're doing the best we can, but we're not really doing what we need to do for what the community is asking for.
In your 7 full-time positions, are you including yourself?
Yes.
And in the one opening, is that included in the 7
Yes.
positions they got?
Yes, sir.
So 7 positions, but you actually only have 6.
Right. I was trying to. Sorry, I didn't make.
No, that's fine.
It costs.
Supposed.
You good?
Good. Thank you.
I think we're good. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so take a break to eat. I guess we just call for a recess right now. All right, so I'm gonna call for a recess right now for our Board of Commissioners dinner break and restaurant. Ready? All right, we back. Jim, it's on you in the tax department, sir. How's that?
All right, well, it's pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. Not much change from last year. With the 4% COLA, we got an increase overall of $23,616. But if you look at non-salary related items, we've got a decrease of $14,250. That's the decrease. We started a business audit program probably 11 years ago. And due to the loss of personnel in the current year's budget, we've had to trim the program back, scale it back a little bit. So we're cutting about $15,000 out of the budget due to that. And we also had a large line printer, 11 by 14, it was like 30 years old, that finally quit on us, and we're not replacing it. And we canceled the service contract on that, which another $2,300. So basically, that's where we're at as far as comparing to the current year's budget.
And Commissioners, if I may, just to share with you, me and Jim have been exploring a peer review service that's offered through the NCACC. And Jim said he's always open-minded. He's been doing this long enough. He's always open-minded to find out if there's anything else that could be suggested or efficiencies to be gained or anything. But anyway, they're supposed to be coming this fall to do that. So, and I appreciate Jim's willingness and stance to do that.
Check it cam right now.
We've got 16, including myself.
All full-time,
Yes, sir.
no part-time.
Yes, sir.
And no openings.
No openings right now.
No.
Thank goodness.
You know, the lady, like,
He didn't say on 16 or full-time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So Jim, you're saying you got what, 37,000 cut?
Cut for this year?
Yeah, that's what you're saying?
I've cut 14,250 off non-salary related items.
And then the cut for the, what was it, copier, computer?
We canceled a contract on the old printer that we had, was like $2,300.
All right.
In our audit program, we scaled it back, cut it in half, so we're taking $15,000 off
Yeah.
of that.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Just check for us. Go ahead.
Jim, I wanted to ask you, what do you think this 2% would take off from the residents of the counties, how bad they really look forward to that 2%.
We typically collect about 50% of the current original billed levy in August. So there's a lot of people that take advantage of the other 2%. Depending on how fast we need to get the money in, there's really no incentive for the taxpayer to pay before January the 5th if not for the 2%. But we do have quite a bit. Now that's before we bill utilities later in the year and discoveries and things of that nature. But the original billing with personal and real property, we collect about 50% of the tax.
I'll just go in,
A lot of people take advantage of that.
84, what was $84,000 that we
The amount is 420,000.
420,000 that
Quite a bit of
county
money.
would save by doing it. I mean, I think.
And it can, according to Jim, it ebb and flows. Sometimes it can be as high as close to 500,000.
Yeah, anywhere from 4 to 5 typically, yeah.
You know,
Just for perspective, that's more than the value of 1% of a COLA. So, man, that saves money that goes toward 1% of a COLA. So,
And that figure was calculated on the 24-25 actual that we knew,
Yeah.
not 25-26. I think that's closer to 452,000.
Comparison wise, how many counties across the state do you know that engage in the discount program?
I don't know right off. I can get that information, put something out on P-Tax, but I don't know.
we did do some research through the listserv a few months
Yeah.
ago.
Last summer, you know.
Trouble with that, a lot of them don't respond, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, and even in business, a lot of, historically, people didn't, 2% net 10 or pay 30 days, no discount. But a lot of companies now don't even do a 2% discount. You just get net 30. Right. Or net 10 or whatever. So,
When you looking at people that's living on a budget, on an income, any savings that they can get would help.
Absolutely.
And my job is to look out for the citizens in this county as far as saving. With saving, you look at the price of gas, you got to save on something.
Yes, ma'am.
So, take away, I'm all for the employees getting a raise, but you got to spread the wealth. If you give county 4% increase, citizens in the county need something, what am I giving them money for? What I'm getting nothing. They have certain opinions.
Well, a little unrelated, and in no way is this meant to find fault with the system. By no means. We respect the fact of the present use value for farming. We're literally, as far as the struggles we have with our revenue stream, we're losing $5 million a year in revenue with that in mind. And that adds up quickly. So.
if you could get us, if you can find that information, we would love to know how many counties offer 2%, how many counties, don't even offer it.
I'll put something back on P-Tax on that, try to get it back, like I
They
say.
may not be.
Everybody won't respond, but we will get some
In
feedback.
that, income, we're not in the status as other counties are financially. So you got to look at all that. I'm just for the people. That's all. Everybody. Well, everybody need to be looked out for and so be.
Well, and please understand, I totally respect what you're saying with that, and I do agree. But naturally, I can't help, as manager, I'm looking at all possibilities of,
But we
how can we increase our revenue?
Andy?
Because ultimately, it's all in how you look at it. That money could be looked at as being towards the economic development debt service, for example. But,
In my book, if I don't have it to spend, I don't spend it. I don't need to put it out to speak it. And that's the way we have to, you don't have it. Or I repeated the pay call when they go work for placebo.
And next year, you don't anticipate collections being less or more, it's in line pretty much 97%?
Yeah, last several years, we've been anywhere between 97 and 97 and a half for several years. So I expect this to be, right there.
Yeah. It's good.
Oh, no, what, that's,
Thank you.
On your, what's your average tax bill, the average tax bill size again? I'm not talking about farmers, I'm talking about homeowners. 2,500, 3,000, something?
I would know right off, probably just all depends on the value of the home.
Okay. I understand that. And I know that kind of puts you on the spot for that question, but I'm just trying to figure, money. When you're looking at $420,000, I'm curious to wonder who's taking advantage of that, who isn't.
Tim.
I can name several I know that do. And they also get very large tax dollar breaks from farming also. I'm one of them. I'll go ahead and tell you. I pay mine in August and I take 2%. And the reason I take it is because I get a big break on my land already because I farm. I've got several acres of farmland that gives me a break. So I've also got a building that doesn't get a break that's listed as another way. So I get it on both sides. So, but I know a lot of farmers who take advantage of that, but their buildings don't pertain to that also. So anyway, I'm just looking at options, but if you will give us that, because that would help to know who's paying, I ain't worried about who's paying. but
$4,000 tax bill, just say $4,000 tax bill on the home.
Say 2%.
It's $80.
That's what I say, $80.
If you got a $100,000 tax bill on a business, that's $2,000.
That's
A
simple math.
business can afford your $2,000, not getting the 2%.
I agree. That's what I'm saying, because my
It
thing,
means more to the county than it does to the business,
I agree.
what I'm saying.
Because it add up to a lot. That's what I'm trying to do.
Depending on the person, the homeowner, $80 could be a killer for one homeowner, but might not be much for another homeowner.
Yeah.
I agree.
That means a lot to the county. The $420,000 means a lot to the county.
I agree.
So,
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
If I may add, I did find the last one that we did, I think it did maybe in August or September of last year, or maybe a little earlier than that. Allegheny County responded, they said they were to do it 2%, Buncombe County does not, Burke County 1%, Columbus 1%, Cumberland none, Currituck County none, Duplin 2%, Franklin 0.5%, Greene County none, Guilford 1%, Hardin none, Hope 2%, Lincoln 2%, Nash none, Pender none, Pitt 0.5%, Randolph 2%, Richmond none, Rowan County 1.5%, Scotland 1, Transylvania none, Stanley 1, Tyrell none, Union none, Washington 2% in July, 1% in August, Watauga none, Wayne none, and Yancey 2%.
Does it say Bladen?
Does not, I don't think they
Did you say
responded.
I didn't hear Bladen or Johnson.
Columbus, 1%.
1% in Columbus.
They changed it from 2 to 1, 2% to 1% in 2025, says their note.
Okay.
Okay.
And Cumberland's not,
None.
but Duplin
Duplin's two.
Dumas on one next, so it says 2. Pender was none. Cumberland was none. Harnett was none. The only one I didn't hear was Bladen and Johnson. That would be Jordan County.
Yeah.
Was Wayne in there? Wayne
Yeah,
touches?
none.
None.
Was none.
They touch us also.
Well, I always think of Columbus as being the closest to us in size and
Size of population.
and similarities, and they've
I
gone
agree.
from 2% to 1%, so they're in the same boat we are.
Yeah, money-wise.
Yeah.
I agree. Oh, any more questions?
Are they in tier 1 county like we are?
Columbus City is.
Columbus is tier 1,
Columbus is tier 1.
Cumberland's tier 1, Duplin County is tier 2.
Yep.
So,
I didn't realize that too recently, and I was surprised. I did not know that Cumberland is tier 1.
Cumberland's
Cumberland's
tier
tier
1.
1 because the population is so much bigger versus the average income.
Yep.
Even though you think of it as being a big county, but I think due to the
I don't even know if the base is included, because it's government institution. I don't know if it's even included in that figure,
Oh, so
part of the county itself.
Lost it.
All right, thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Tim.
Go ahead.
Question, you know what tier offender is?
3.
There are 3 now, and there's none. I'm just curious, 'cause I knew I mean, they're touching us, that's the thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Transportation is ready.
What's crazy about that is so much of what's on the west side of the county would be comparable to just like here.
Yeah, no. I agree.
It's just sort of
We just got to look
east
at.
side beaches.
Hey, good afternoon.
That's on you, dear.
If you've looked at our budget, you'll see that although it's comparable, you'll see a significant cut, but part of that is because we do not have any vehicles that will be ordered in FY27, where last year we had $375,000 in the budget for that. So in place of that, we're gonna order some desks and some new computers. Hopefully, our revenue will come in as planned, and we will not need any county funds, I hope. You may remember a few years ago, I started converting our vehicles to buy fuel, gas, and propane. That has saved us between $40,000 and $50,000 a year in fuel. On the opposite side, 4 years ago, managed care and non-emergency medical transportation came into play, and our revenue has dropped to close to $300,000 from that because we are not getting all the trips that we used to get. We don't have a whole lot of control over what the private brokers send to us. It was the state's intention that public transportation would get the first rights to any trips. It just doesn't happen that way. Other than that, if anybody has any questions.
You feel like you feel like it's gonna be a flat year with everything where you have been?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so.
We save
Fuel
$400,000.
effective your transportation.
Having the vehicles converted where they can run on propane has been a significant savings. We have 3 vehicles waiting to be converted. We're waiting on the equipment to come in.
Yeah.
And then we will have 2 minivans that will not be converted, but all the larger vehicles will run on biofuel.
That's good. What's your head count?
We have 6 full-time drivers, 19 part-time drivers, 5 full-time office staff,
19 part-time, and how many office staff?
5 full-time.
Any openings?
Part-time driver positions.
Firm they have part-time positions.
Yeah.
But we have been very fortunate. Some of the other counties have really had a tough time with drivers. We do have some that come and go, but we're able to replace them generally pretty quickly.
Do you have anything on your vehicles that monitor their speed?
We do.
Watch that
That's
pretty
a
close.
conversation that Mr. Van and I have to have an update on. We were talking about that a few weeks ago with the cameras and the
We were just
GPS.
talking about
Yeah,
that.
we just did a purchase order to get them installed on the
Cameras.
vehicles, cameras,
And it's-
and GPS.
It just has developed, so I have.
Sure.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk to us like
The
today.
purchase order, what is the current method of tracking their speed?
We've had cameras on the vans all along.
Okay.
It was something that Mr. Hudson put into place last year to switch out to a different vendor.
We ran
That-
into some complications.
Yeah.
So are you monitoring the speed
Just say,
with the
look.
camera
We can.
system?
We can.
Okay.
And we can also monitor it through our software that we use for scheduling the rides.
Now, when you do an evaluation on a driver, do you go through the records and see what driver's speed is?
We do. We pull random video
not just for evaluations, but,
Yeah.
you know, routinely. Sometimes we see some things we'd prefer not to see. But I've also had situations where the video and the GPS has saved a driver from getting a ticket. Because Highway Patrol, you know, I've said, we have videos, if y'all come to the office, we can, yeah. And clear as day, you can see it wasn't the driver's fault, it was the other person's fault, so.
Yeah, that's
Doesn't matter how long the vehicle idles, do you keep up with that?
We do not. The drivers are instructed that they should not leave a vehicle running.
The software that's being installed will monitor that heartbreaking heart acceleration. It's something that the insurance companies are looking at, telematics on vehicles, as far as when they quote you for your insurance rates, they're wanting to see that more and more. Some of them even kind of require it.
Yeah. What's that?
There's a grant that was just released, and there are 2 weeks to apply for it. And I can apply for it would be up to a $200,000 reimbursement for FY27. There's no local match. It's 100% state funded, so I'm kind of hustling to apply for that, and that is for coordination with other counties to out-of-county destinations. So I'm focusing on Fayetteville, going to coordinate with Bladen and possibly Duplin, but we will be the lead agency going to, which we do this already. This would just be saving our road funds. We'll be able to bill the state for the cost to the airport in Fayetteville, any of the medical facilities, the VA, Sam's Club if they needed to go shopping, as long as they fit within our time frame.
Didn't you just get back from the rodeo?
I did.
How did that go?
It went well. So every year, the North Carolina Public Transportation Association hosts a state rodeo and conference. The past 2 years, we've hosted a local one. There were 92 drivers that participated at the state level. Everybody had a good time. We did not send anybody this year, so that was unfortunate. But it's a learning experience. The drivers get to talk to other people that do the same thing they do every day. And I almost look at it like a little extra perk. We have sent a driver the past couple of years. This year we didn't because of budget. But it's like a little extra perk for the drivers, just a little thank you for what you do. They have a big dinner for them. They get cash awards. It's really a nice time. And then the first place winners can go to the national rodeo.
Okay.
So
Is there a grant you can apply for that?
there is not. There is not. Unfortunately.
That's something they need, the extra.
Yeah.
They do a job.
There is, and I wasn't going to mention this, but I will. There's one other thing. I got a call right before I went to the conference last week, and I've not had a chance to speak to Mr. Van about this. Received a call from the state concerning our facility. It was, when it was originally built or placed on the lot, it was not intended for long-term sustainability. It was on a 1999-2000 grant that was purchased with. So somebody from the state is coming down May 15th. If you're interested in joining us, they want to talk about doing a feasibility study. This is something that's kind of been on the back burner, and Mr. Causey, I had spoken to him about it, and he had mentioned if this was something that came into fruition, the possibility of putting a facility behind Public Works where we park the surplus vehicles. Now, I don't know if that might still be a possibility.
We also have this on the list with our lobbyists as far as a new transportation building.
I had applied for one grant a few months ago, about 9 months ago. The funds for this grant. It was an open application to anybody. The applications opened at 12 o'clock. They were literally out of funding at 12:02. It was approved as they come through, without even, but by 12:02, the funds were gone. So the state is interested in looking at this. There will be a little cost to the county, probably about $40,000 for the feasibility study, which is 10% of the total.
Meaning the county would have to pay 10% of the 40.
No, the 40 is
The
10%.
40 is 10%. Okay.
Okay.
Good puppy.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But he is coming May 15th, so if anybody is interested in joining,
Baker.
Two.
What time is that?
Yeah.
he is coming at 9 a.m.
Wait,
His name is Mr. Michael Stafford.
what's that?
They-
And I did tell him that right now is not a good time to be discussing $40,000 or any other amount. But he still wants to come down, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you.
That's
Huh?
So, all right.
Ray, you're up.
Mr. Ray. Mr. Ray.
Hey, would
And just so you know, you stand between us and leaving early tonight, okay?
so just because you're an hour early.
You don't have any questions, or
You dress well for this, I have to say. You look very nice.
this was for earlier today. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, and thank you for the support over the past year, the things we've been able to accomplish, for your guidance and support. You should have a copy of our budget. If we look at the original budget from last year versus the requested budget, we had would have had a little bit of a reduction due to we had a appraisal done last year on all of our industrial property, which we take out, so we're not doing it again. And some of that funding was allocated toward things such as we had previously not funded any for legal services, and so that was one thing we did. And another small addition, I think $1,500, was for some software to track customer relationship management with these folks we're dealing with, and having the ability to track it. But all in all, within the budget, it's roughly $5,100 above last year, including the COLA that was presented or recommended by the manager. So basically, there's not any significant change within the budget. It's just some reshuffling within line items. My staff and I, I'm just kidding. But I did want to,
Oh, yeah, you slip that in real quick, yeah, I like that.
but I did, I would be remiss if I didn't, I know that this has been, we've discussed this in our meetings prior to tonight, but I do want to share with you, we do need support in this office. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of time that I spent here that I can't be out doing other things within the existing industry, and yes, and try to provide support to them. The project activity that I talked with you about earlier in March, that continues. The projects that have come through since I met with you last have been significantly larger in size and scope than prior to, and that's, I think, a lot of that's driven by some of the defense projects that come along, and they're seeking large tracts of land. 300 to 500 acres, and they don't nobody around any of it. And they take it down. They take down the whole amount because of munitions testing, things like this. So those are some of the ones that have come through most recent. since our meeting. There are continuing to be inquiries. We do have some several active projects. There's, I'm not going to say any of them are close, but we're working on them, and we will continue to do that. Very excited to continue what we do and try to continue to create a tax base in the county. That's the goal. I think if I remember correctly, yes, our overall tax base growth was $209 million. So if you think about that in perspective, our $7-something billion tax base, $209 million is about a few houses. We've just not had any significant growth. One thing that I would not say sitting back there as you were discussing with Jim, I think it might prove worthwhile to see if any of our major industry are participating in a discount. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask that on their behalf. I don't know that they are. Just want to share that with you. But we're, like I said, we're continuing to make progress. Just of most recent, where I had a meeting on Tuesday of this week with Golden Leaf. And the purpose of that meeting was to sit down with their senior VP, Mr. Ted Lord, to fully understand what opportunities are. Currently, they have two major primary areas that they've worked throughout. The first, well, I'm not going to say the first, A. Let's start to say A, because they're not one over the other. A is their Catalyst program. And the Catalyst program would be, as an example, if we were to have a project that was needing X, Y, Z, they would come in and fund to get you across the finish line. They're not there to start it. So those programs are meant for projects that have a significant shortage, so to speak. So, as an example, if you had to do a major water sewer upgrade to a facility or something that's beyond what you built, that's where that would step in. The other program is their SITE program, which revolves about 3 studies. One is the first one, which we don't have anything currently for, is their program to identify sites. They help you do that. You do due diligence on finding sites. Right now, we're not out seeking them. Well, we're seeking new sites, but under a way if we could enter into agreement with a landowner that who could partner. But we're not out actively seeking sites that we would control. So that's kind of on and off the table. The next is the due diligence grant, and that would be to help you do all the check boxes with phase 1 topo and these things here for site specific. And then the last would be the implementation. It would be a maximum cap of $1.5 million that could be funded to a project, and it's basically but it has to be on publicly owned infrastructure. It could be like, for example, in Newton Grove, what I anticipate there, we will try to work as we do engineering work in Newton Grove to help apply for the grant for them to help facilitate the upgrades of sewer, of the water and sewer. Earlier today, we were with Hillary Sherman, who's basically helps you get projects through the EDA. And I asked a question for funding specifically for sewage treatment plants, specifically targeting the Newton Grove property. And we will have a future conversation, more one-on-one, about that. The EDA is shifting its focus a little bit from the traditional way of creating metrics into their more of a focus since the new administration is based on return on investment. So what they're, in a roundabout way, if they contribute, say $1, you're going to have $2 of private investment in order to capitalize on that grant opportunity. So it's shifting and changing, and she said, understand every day the tide changes, so we're seeking clarification, because it's like she said, it's like a moving target. And so until some of that maybe is ironed out within the administration, that, that he said, bring all projects, we're going to vet them out and see where we are. So it will, continue to work towards that. But as far as what I shared with you earlier in the year regarding the Joe Brickmore site, all the sites, all that pretty much remain the same. We have contracted the firm to that the phase one environmental audit for the Clinton Park, which is out of date. They generally have 18 to 24 month shelf life. But for a bank, they don't. But for the purpose that we do, most of them they do. One thing that I really thought that we had is we had a partial topo of the industrial park at Clinton. So as I started working on site work for Golden Leaf, I realized we had only the 20-acre parcel, not the entire site. And so we've extended the purchase order to have that topo done in that park. That's underway. And additionally, we have working with Radiant out of Fayetteville to refloat pad-ready design of a 10-acre parcel within Clinton that Golden Leaf initially helped us on which at the time Stephen, my predecessor, had asked that he basically put a square box on a piece of land. And so as the work we've done to try to figure out how to develop the site and get it pad ready, all the folks we worked with and talked to through Commerce or through Southeast Park Street, we need to create, it didn't include the external office space, so we're shifting the building back and actually going from the 60 to 120 expanded would create the pad. The goal is to try to get that property or that particular site as far along as we can product ready. So that's what we're working on. On a different note, I appreciate the opportunity the county provided for me to participate in the Certified Developer Program in East Carolina. I presented my oral presentation to the Capstone Project on Tuesday of this week. Waiting to hear back from that. I will share with you, once everything is graded and back in place, the project report that I submitted, which was a 24-page document. The topic title was Driving Growth, Building Opportunity. And it focused on several things, and it will circle back and kind of conclude with something Mr. Van talked about initially. But the primary areas of the discussion for my project was revolving around developing certified and pad-ready sites, a development of an ongoing speculative building shell building program, the ongoing county infrastructure improvements, and lastly, intertwined with that would be land use planning. I think from my position with working economic development, we have we really need to look at the land use plan for multiple reasons. It's not to do one thing over the other or choose one over anything over the other, but we really need to have that evaluated to chart where you want to go, where the community wants to go, and how you protect the core values of the residents while aligning up with the goals for where you want to see future development for industrial, for highway commercial, and also while preserving ag land. So that effort is not just about a zoning ordinance. It's about an overall plan to really guide into what he said earlier is that will not work if it does not have community involvement. I mean, it's got to be the core of it. And because, what I have found in this job, and especially in our time in the county, nobody wants zoning until they need it. Or nobody wants land use planning until it's affecting their next little properties. And I will share with you, you're all aware of what's going on with the county, probably much better than I am. But land sales are occurring every day. It's a generational change of property, as I discussed in March. Land prices, farmland sales as cheap as 4,800 that I've heard, as high as 13,450. And this is farmers buying farmland. So, and that is the market price. Unfortunately, when you do revals, it's based on market price. That establishes the market price. And so, and then I had on my desk to bring them to show you, but I know you get them in your mailbox every day. It's just odd, and I'm getting them here at the office, people wanting to buy land. And I guess they've seen the land that the county owns, and they're trying to see if they can buy land. But I had one that came here. It was the first one I ever had to come here. But you know, the one thing, there are changes inevitable, and you know how we brace for it and prepare for it, and you know, as Mr. Spate, the speaker, said today, it's about planning for the future and trying to provide better opportunity, increase upward mobility for the economic mobility of our residents, increasing their ability to earn, that have better, that increased in better amenities. And you know all this, I don't have to explain it, but so that's the effort of what we're doing. And your support every step of the way is critical. Your leadership in that, I cannot under or overstate whichever way the saying goes, but that's where we are. I'll be glad to answer any questions. I know I've talked a lot and I can go on for hours, but I hope you'll pay me Friday, but if I keep talking, you may.
60,000 square foot show building, which would be part of the $5 million proposed debt. How much would the $70,000 show building cost in that $5 million?
Mr. Cobb, that's a very good question. So going back to our March meeting, whenever we were trying to get some quick estimates together, we had ranges $50 to $80. We used 60, 350, I think, in our message then. There's, to try to answer your question in a good way, certainly don't know that yet. What we're trying to figure out, well, what we got to do is how we have to sometimes go about our business and how we contract with folks makes it very difficult sometimes and costly. My goal is to, as an example, I know you've recently purchased a metal building. You can purchase from anybody in the world. And when that builder does them, they have engineered plans with them. It doesn't include your foot or electrical or anything else, but that plan is a certified plan. So I'm trying to work with some local folks to understand what some various building sizes would be. And it's also, then if you have that plan, it's engineered for the building, but without the foot. So then how do we go about getting that? I mean, we're going to have to spend some money to get that price.
So just being very truly been hitting you in the March meeting, the options you gave before the board for the 70,000 square foot. Do correct me if I'm wrong, but that was also the option where roughly $1 million would go towards the work.
That's what
that's what you're trying to do, right?
Right. The goal is that ideally, once we can understand where we can direction, we would try to work as best possible to create the 70,000, while utilizing part of the funding toward the movement of Newton Grove. And I do think with the Newton Grove project, will be some grant opportunities but we've got to have some further information to do that. I mean, we're going to have to spend some money to get those things. But with the pad that we're working on, or the design of it, obviously it would go up to 120. If we had to be at 60 to stay on the budget, that would still be a great thing. I would love not to go below 60. I would love to be at 70. And if funds were limited, as I said in March, I'd be at 120. The most recent client I'm working with, he's 150. And we're learning to grab it backwards to try to see if we can, how we might accommodate that. And I don't know that we will, but I'm talking to private investors and try to, but the speed to market is the thing that's just,
That's killing us.
I can't even, it seems as if the projects that come through, the speed to market is the number one concern. Because, to build a 150,000 square foot facility from just, if you said go do it a day, 18 months. We may could do it less than that.
Correct.
But I would doubt this. My son's building a house right now, and you'll find this funny, and this is all sudden, but I was at dinner, and I asked Caitlin, I said, Caitlin, did my son tell you how long it take you to get in this house? And she cut her eyes to him very quickly. And then she looked at me, she said, what did you tell him? I said, you're going to be lucky to be in it by Christmas. This was in February. He called me the next morning, he was not happy. And that's holding true, brother. He'll be lucky to be in it by Christmas. But no, to do something that nature, even the 70,000, if we were on it point blank out of the gate, it's going to probably take 9 to 12 months. If we were, because you got site work, utilities, and I do think there's some opportunity what Mike that has occurred since Mr. Van and I talked, that Mike could help us with this, but we're too preliminary to know that. So I don't even want to go down that path, with what specifically, but us starting, it's almost like when I've had some conversations in the last 2 days, literally, where it's almost like we'll help you help yourself. You feel what I mean? So I'm anxious to understand what that may look like, and then to figure out how then can we leverage with others to move this whole thing forward even in a better way. And maybe hopefully might be less impactful financially, but we're going to have to do the work. And we do that.
Okay.
Is in your proposed budget with the debt service being $772,000 for the $5 million note, is that included in the proposed budget that we would be taking out this bond, build this building?
It would less likely be a bond issue because of the cost of issuance. It would probably be more like a bank loan.
Bank loan?
Something similar to what we did with the loan for the EM building part that was covered by grant funding.
Yeah, but we don't actually have a concise plan yet of exactly what the $5 million would go for at this point.
And that's what we'll be working on.
Okay. One of those. So, any questions? We good? Eric, you good? You good? Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Fanning, have anything else, sir?
No, sir, I do not. Thank you very much.
Do we need to recess to reconvene on the 11th or the 4th?
The 11th. Thank you.
That's what I was thinking. So I will take a motion, I will entertain a motion now.
Well, can I ask you something? Why don't we we're going to be meeting, shouldn't we just end this meeting and then we'll have a new meeting starting with the budget session on the 11th? No, we're meeting on the 4th too.
Well, we can. We can recess this one since it's a special meeting, to have it continue to the 11th for another budget session, and then have a regular meeting with it.
Okay.
Or we can just do it and notice another special meeting. It's up to you.
Just we don't have to do it, just we have to.
You just do what?
We're gonna.
I'm good with it.
I'm gonna take a motion to recess to reconvene
Okay.
on May
Sorry,
the
Miss-
11th. How's that? I like that.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Everybody raise your hand. Motion so carried, and we are adjourned. Have a good night.
Recess.